This episode, it's all about food. Food on Cunard. Because we're aboard two of the most famous ships in the world, the Queen Mary II and the Queen Elizabeth. And by golly, these are famous ships. But is the cuisine on Cunard any good at all? Does it live up to the famous reputation of the ships? We want to find out. Is it actually a case of pretty ships, but mediocre food? Let's see. Welcome back to the Ritzy Travel Guide. My name is Bill, and it's great to have you along. Now, food is one of those things that people most look forward to when booking a cruise. So this episode, we're going to review what Cunard offers as we stand today, and rank all of their outlets across the fleet. To aid in this, we want to see if things have got worse. So revealingly, we're going to dip into the archives and look at the cuisine aboard Cunard in the glory days, the 1950s.
The Queen Elizabeth is ready to sail.
We'll compare it with what you get now. After all, they've been around for more than 200 years and should have got on top of things by now. And Cunard has got to be careful, as there are so many cruise lines these days not only snapping at Cunard's heels, but claiming that they've surpassed them. We've been on Cunard very recently, twice in fact. A few months ago on the Queen Mary II, and then just a few weeks ago on the Queen Elizabeth. If you missed those episodes, you can go back and watch them after this. I'll give you the links a little later. As always, we're going to be as honest and fair as we can, because there's no point sugarcoating. As we go along, we'll point out exactly what we thought, because sometimes on YouTube, it can get a bit tricky to get honest viewpoints. So let's get started. Taste buds revved up and ready to go, and we're going to visit each of the outlets one by one. Our footage will come from both the Queen Mary II and the Queen Elizabeth. We haven't been on the Queen Victoria for a couple of years, so we won't show you that, but it's almost identical to the Queen Elizabeth with fractional differences. Later on, I'll discuss the food outlets on the new Queen Anne, which is being launched by Cunard imminently, because there are going to be some interesting changes there. And perhaps the best place to start is with the Britannia Dining Room.
Few restaurants in the whole world, at sea or ashore, can surpass the Queen Elizabeth's main dining salon, either in size or elegance. A moment of pleasant indecision awaits you as the hors d'oeuvre table is brought. For here must be every tantalizing tidbit that ever tempted a traveler's taste. If perfect dining is one of your special joys, dining aboard a Queen will be a happy memory indeed.
Okay, so we've seen what they were served back in the day. What do you get now on a typical evening in the Britannia Dining Room? And we're starting off tonight's dinner with a mushroom risotto.
Hot with orzo.
It does look nice, look, there we are. Look. Potatoes stacked up in a sort of bricklayery. Bricklayers would be quite proud of that bricklaying there. The meat looks nicely done. I mean, the presentation is very nice, but maybe not carrots and broccoli every single time.
Scallops?
Scallops, very artistic. You can see the scallops this time. 5 of them. And tonight we have pork with a Stilton dressing. Look. It's so delicate, it's so tender. That beef is melt in the mouth.
We have cod with celery puree.
Very nice too.
And carrots.
And carrots now. Beef medallions. For the main course, the steak Diane. Okay, it's arrived. So we had the beef Wellington on this front. I asked for medium rare. I suppose that's sort of medium rare. We have some asparagus, we have some roast potatoes, and some carrots, and some courgettes. That's pretty good. An incoming apple strudel. Thank you. What is it?
It's carrot at the bottom and cheese at the top.
It's a carrot cake and a cheesecake together.
It's topped with caramel.
Little drops. It is the in-chef thing to do. Little droplets of sauce. Don't like prunes, but I've gone for the sticky toffee prune pudding. Now that's a lovely looking dessert. It's a rum and banana cake with caramel sauce. tip for you. You may well know this, but if you're new to Cunard, in the main dining room, you are able to get speciality coffees such as cappuccino, latte. They're included in your fare price. Anywhere else around the ship, if you have a speciality coffee, it's an additional charge. Come to the main dining room, and breakfast, lunch and dinner free.
Just as well I had a huge pizza this afternoon because the appetizer is quite small.
Yeah, sometimes if you come on a non-gala evening, the portions do shrink just a little bit, don't they? It has to be said. Petit fours incoming. What do you have here? Truffles. Meringues.
Yep.
And what's the other one?
Passion fruit.
Passion fruit. All right, let's try them all. Passion fruit.
Not much flavour there.
Is there not? Is it plain? Okay, that was boring. Try another one. Sounds like you're only giving the petit four 5 out of 10. It's not a lot, is it?
Through these kitchen doors come delicacies fit for a king. Part of the 10,000 meals served on the Queen every day at sea. Your selection is almost endless. A crown roast of lamb, as decorative as it is delicious. Or perhaps for your meat course tonight, you'll choose game, grouse or pheasant. Birds prepared as only master chefs can prepare them, and served as only an artist can carve them.
Enjoyed your dinner?
But appetizing as all these dishes are to the eye, it's the taste that tells.
Indeed. Wowzers. The vintage video that they were showing was almost certainly showing first class, and we're looking at Britannia, which is practically steerage in comparison. What's our verdict on the Britannia dining room? Well, we have a little bit of a caveat here. It depends which evening you go on. If it's a gala evening, and generally you get 2 of those per week, you can expect the chefs to really pull out the stops. Their budget is always best for gala nights. But if you go on any other evening that's not a gala night, things can be a little bit more hit and miss. Right, in a moment we're going to be coming to the Veranda Grill, the buffet, the Golden Lion pub, the Carinthia Lounge and several others. But first, what's the best way to get any day started? Why, breakfast, of course.
As you awake to your first full day at sea, you begin to appreciate the luxurious travel comforts that only an ocean liner can provide. And you find that deep slumber and salt sea air have put a keen edge on your appetite. While you breakfast, the Ocean Times, printed during the hours of the night, brings you all the news of the world, which suddenly seems far away indeed.
Okay, so today's room service isn't quite up to that standard, but it's still pretty good. This was just a few weeks ago for us. Hello? Good morning. Is this our room service?
Yeah.
Breakfast.
Room service with you.
Now, for those who don't know, room service is included. There aren't many lines still left afloat that provide room service totally complimentary, included in the price. And this always seems to be the case. They keep bringing it and bringing it and bringing it, and you're thinking, did I really order that much? See, pretty good. Well done, Cunard. Now, by the way, if you're enjoying this video, please do give it a thumbs up, as it lets us know you like this type of material, and we'll try to make some more. Up now, let's take a look at the steakhouse aboard all of the Cunard ships, the Veranda Grill.
Before you know it, it's time for lunch. Perhaps you'll choose the lovely Veranda Grill. High up on deck with window views of the sea, not only a favorite place for lunch, but later in the day, a gay spot for dinner, supper, and dancing. There's so much to see and do aboard a Queen that one trip just isn't time enough.
And tonight we dine in the Veranda, the on-board steakhouse. Very civilized. We have a string quartet outside the entrance to the restaurant. Just elevates the evening just a little bit, don't you think? Now, this is one of the specialities of the Veranda. It's their bread. It is second to none across the cruise industry. I've never seen you have so much bread.
It's absolutely divine.
Why? Why's that?
It has like a smoky thyme flavor.
It's smoked whipped butter, isn't it?
It's like into the brand. It's got beautiful, elegant acts. You're almost talking hushed tones, beef and talking almost like this.
Hope you brought your appetite to the door, because veranda portions are known to be on the bountiful side. I tell you what, it's full already. 6:30 in the evening and there's almost not a chair to be had. It's a popular venue.
Come between the two formal evenings, because the gala nights are already going to have fantastic food. We'll waste not to go to the main dining room on those evenings, so strategically pick an evening between the two gala nights, dress up, put your crispest shirt on, or your most delightful evening gown, come and be pampered.
Thank you very much. The clam chowder. Doesn't that look fantastic? And for you, you chose the
Tea smoked duck with radish.
tea smoked duck.
That is outrageously good. Huge chunks of clam. Creamy, some shaved bacon bits, some onions, creamy sauce. That is well worth coming to the veranda just for the clam chowder.
It really is a sense of occasion. An opportunity to take a photograph of your evening here. Okay. Get to choose your sword for the dinner. Which is the sharpest one? Let's go for the sharpest.
This is a very good one for the television now.
Is it? Could I have that one then, please?
Yep.
Thank you very much. What was the advice he gave you for that?
It's not advice, I just thought
Yes.
it's rather unusual shape because the curvature on the bone of this knife.
It's going to slice through samurai style.
Yeah, incoming.
Ribeye for you.
Ribeye steak.
Broccoli,
Yes, please. Thank you.
onion ring,
Thank you.
Spinach.
Yes, please.
Red skin potato and venison.
Thank you. Really is a marvellous spread. It's difficult to know where to start. The side dishes look almost as tempting as the steak.
What's that?
We have two 28-day aged steaks. One is a ribeye, one is a sirloin. We have some cheesy potatoes, some onion rings, some creamed spinach. Now that would be the rum baba going by. We shall be having that one later because that's a speciality. I have to say, those cheesy potatoes are sensational.
Sunday. Okay, well let's first start off with which rum would you like? It's the oldest rum company in the world. If you'd like this.
Well, the Mount Gay, it has to be, I would have thought. Well, sadly we can't set fire to our rum baba as we're on a ship, but we'll imagine that it's ablaze.
I tell you what, I'm already bursting into seams, but as rum baba is so famous, it would be sinful not to try it. With marmalade, I do feel like I'm almost having breakfast, really. So we got that, plus we got the chantilly cream. That is a sailor's portion of rum. Did you see how much rum went into that?
But I'm not sure. I think that is drowning in rum.
So, and what have you got? Have you got, is that coconut cream? Ice cream?
No,
Is that
this is a sorbet
coconut?
lime. Ooh, wow. Look at it, look at it, look at it.
Is it like a jammy? Oh, there's little strawberries inside.
Yeah,
Like a
it's
little
like,
nest.
It's like when you crack, journey to the center of the earth.
And how do we score the veranda? Very definitely a 9 out of 10. It's a wonderful experience and we really would recommend it. And I tell you what, it's also excellent value for money. Most of the competing cruise lines out there for a similar experience are charging $18, $90, $100 for their steakhouse. So this really is exceptional value aboard Cunard. Still several outlets to review aboard, but first let's look at one of the casual options, which is the Golden Lion pub. It's included in the fare price and open at all times of the day.
Truly international in atmosphere, its expert bartenders can provide any refreshment you like. From the glens of Scotland and the vineyards of France, to exotic mixed drinks from the plantations of the Indies. Here's a rendezvous where you meet your friends in a sparkling atmosphere of companionship and relaxation.
Hello, hello. We're in the pub tonight because apart from all the various dining rooms, there's also a rather fun pub. So I've got what they call a flight of beer here, where you have a sampler of a Guinness style, an ale style, and a lager style. So appetizers, and absolutely well done to the chefs because they've really tried to do something a little bit different. Here we have a little mini fondue. There we are, cheese in a little pot with 3 ham hock balls, all deep fried. And then over this side we have duck in a red curry sauce, gone slightly Asian here. Why not? Doesn't just have to be British pub food. Got a bit of live music that's just struck up in the background there. Bit of jazz, bit of saxophone going in the background, whilst our main course has arrived. So we've got a aged beef burger here, plus some chips, and over here we have a chicken pie and some oven roasted potatoes. Silly what? Enjoying the atmosphere in here. We've got dessert coming, but it's rather fun sitting here in a pub with a bit of live jazz music, whiling the evening away, no particular hurry. Your pie looks absolutely amazing. That is a very big slice of cake. I have no issues whatsoever with that. Bravo, Golden Lion. So overall, how do we score the Golden Lion pub? We're going to give it 8 out of 10. By the way, don't forget we have 2 recent videos out on the Cunard Queen Elizabeth, which you can watch after this, and I'll give you the links a little later. But first, the infamous afternoon tea.
Puts you right in the mood for another age-old tradition of the sea. Afternoon tea, served on the broad enclosed promenade deck with a bountiful assortment of the pastry chef's famous confections to tempt your appetite. Perhaps you'd prefer to have your tea in the beautiful main lounge with pleasant music as a background. One of 35 public rooms conveniently placed throughout the ship.
Of course, afternoon tea is an old British tradition. You enjoy it at your chair anywhere on deck.
Wow, they used to serve afternoon tea on the deck. What on earth happened to that? Quite like the sound of it. But don't worry, it's still going strong inside in the Queen's Room. Every day at precisely 3 o'clock in the afternoon, the music strikes up and waiters march in with great pomp and ceremony. It's fascinating to see the precision of the arrival of the teapots and the food. You can either watch from above, or better still, partake in the tea itself and get yourself a table. But be warned to get there early, at least half an hour before, and glue yourself to that seat, because otherwise you're not going to get in. Various trays are brought to you, with a selection of goodies to tempt you and make you gain several pounds in one afternoon. Very civilized, like a bit of jazz in the background.
We have this almond financier, key lime mousse, and apple. Chocolate banana cream mousse, apple tart, and key lime pie.
The chocolate would be great, thank you. I had a key lime pie at lunchtime, so that would be gluttony.
You want some scones?
Must have scones. Yes, please, must do. It's compulsory to have scones for afternoon tea.
You may not be hungry after lunch, but you've absolutely got to do it. Squeeze in a scone, squeeze in some dessert.
What about for you, sir?
I'll have one of those, please. And I'll have one of the mousse, please. Thank you.
I have to say that afternoon tea on Cunard is done so beautifully. It's so elegant. You've got the afternoon jazz in the background, the setting, bringing out the various courses. You may not be hungry after lunch, but you've absolutely got to do it. Squeeze in a scone, squeeze in some dessert. You really will want to do it.
Our score for afternoon tea, 9 out of 10.
Just choosing the food is the hardest decision required of you.
If you have even more energy to expend, and sea air gives you plenty, you'll want to take a workout in the gymnasium.
By the way, if you're enjoying this look into vintage footage of yesteryear, please do let us know in the comments below, because I'm thinking of putting together a separate, full-length, dedicated video on cruising back in the heyday, covering not just the food, but everyday life aboard, such as entertainment, sports, and what they got up to. So if you'd like to see that video, please let me know and drop a comment in the box below. Coming up shortly in this video, we'll try our luck at the buffet. But first, I want to talk to you about the Carinthia Cafe, because it often gets overlooked. It's one of our favourites on Cunard, particularly if you're on Queen Mary too. Now, Carinthia is on all Cunard ships, but the best version is on the Queen Mary too, where it's called the Carinthia Lounge. It has the biggest and best venue. It's included in the fare price and open at all times of the day. Well, here we are in the Carinthia Lounge, which is on deck 7. And you know what? I like the vibe in here. You've got comfortable seats, you've got musical accompaniment. It's more of a club or a lounge, and they have a light buffet over there where you have a selection of Italian-style antipasto, a little bit Greek, a little bit Italian. It's a nice bistro-y vibe to it. So let's check out the food. First one, all three of these are very popular. This one absolutely flies off the shelf. As quickly as they can put them down, people take them. This is a macaroni cheese. That is really a very good macaroni cheese. And I like the fact that Carinthia has different foods. Okay, now on to what they bill the charcuterie board. Very prettily presented. You don't get anything like this. In fact, in any of the other restaurants, there is no Italian restaurant on board.
Here what you get is a more refined buffet where the offerings are made make it more Spanish style.
Still in my new favourite venue, the Carinthia Lounge, this is Turkish flatbread. There's like a Caesar salad on it. You've got some nice crispy bacon, some lettuce leaves, and this slightly, almost pizza crispy base. Tasty, good sauce. I felt it was important to try these two rather delicate, rather cute little jam jar desserts. We've got lemon curd and a caramel and biscuit base cream to yumminess. I feel like I'm in a Victorian kitchen where cook has just made it. That was very, very good. I shouldn't really be finishing those desserts, but I just did. So back in the Carinthia Lounge, which is fast becoming our venue of choice. It strikes just the right tone, so we have a selection of little delicacies to keep us tied over until dinner time. This banoffee pie is delicious. You could go to a top quality hotel in England and not get anything that would beat this. And just to really keep the wolf from the door, a couple of top-ups. Cafe Carinthia is on all the Cunard ships, but by far the best version is on the Queen Mary too. And our score for the cafe, 9 out of 10. Right, let's look at the buffet, because I've been telling you we're going to, and we have some good and bad news on that. But first, let's dip back into the archives again.
The buffet will give you an inkling of what awaits you. A taste-tingling sight when the appetite is sharpened by a day at sea. Cunard chefs are masters of the art of appealing to the eye as well as to the appetite. Here you'll find delectable foods. In fact, from every corner of Europe and the Orient. From America, from Britain, France, Italy.
Okay, I don't think it's going to be as good as that now. But we have to say that the buffet on Cunard varies considerably from ship to ship and which one you're on. Now, it shouldn't be like that. That shouldn't be the case. First, earlier this year, we were on the Queen Mary too and felt the buffet to be excellent, with a good variety, depth and choice. Added to which, the buffet on the QM2 is well designed and nicely spaced out. The ship was revamped in 2016 and now has good open-plan settings. Easy to navigate your way round with modern clean lines. We felt the food offering to be above average at the buffet. However, Fast forward a couple of months later to our cruise on Queen Elizabeth, and the space there in the buffet is way more cramped, narrow, and looking older. The layout is really showing its age. And inexplicably, to us, the standard of cuisine in the buffet is consistently lower than on the Queen Mary too. It's almost as though they have a different budget, or just spend less.
We have a selection of lettuce leaves, steamed rice, some grilled chicken scallop, some grilled pork chops with mustard sauce, some cod, and some creamy pasta.
As we mentioned last video in our guide to the Queen Elizabeth, we felt the buffet offering to be uninspiring and, to be honest with you, just dull.
Letdown is the ham. You need a chainsaw for this one. You almost got to pull it apart. You wouldn't call that tender. It would do as a doorstop.
But ray of good news, the buffet on the Queen Elizabeth at breakfast is much better and has a good range available. All the usual hot selections you'd expect. There's a live egg station.
And we have the egg chef whipping up omelettes.
Cereals, breads, savoury items. You should generally be happy with breakfast buffet. And at the back of the ship, the buffet extends to barbecue items.
As lunchtime draws near, the many kitchens are getting ready for the informal al fresco buffet luncheon to be served on deck. Or maybe you'd like to order from the charcoal grill. Prime chops, fillets or steak, done exactly as you like them, and all enhanced by the bouquet of vintage wine.
Okay, so our score for buffets aboard the Cunard Ships, well, in fact, I'm going to give 2 scores. For the Queen Mary 2 and the King's Court buffet, I'm going to give 7.5 out of 10. But for the Queen Elizabeth, now don't strike me down, don't get angry, it's just our opinion, but we feel it is the worst outlet of all the Cunard ships and definitely what's on board Queen Elizabeth compared to the other restaurants there. And we're going to give it 6 out of 10. And a lot of other cruise lines are starting to phase out the buffet. And in fact, on Queen Anne, there is no buffet. They've decided to go a different route. They're going to be going the route of live food stations, a bit like a luxury food court. So the buffet will be gone on the Queen Anne. I wonder if the existing Cunard ships will go down a similar route. Now let's take a little look forward because the Cunard Queen Anne is launching soon. It's a slightly more modern version of existing Cunard ships. There's a dedicated Indian, Asian, and an Italian. Let's take a look at those. First off, there is Ajiwa, a brand new concept for any Cunard ship that will offer creative Japanese cuisine. Guests can enjoy sushi, a la carte lunch and dinner menus, with the option to take part in omikaze, which is a chef's choice tasting menu in the evening. Now, omikaze is normally very expensive on land, so let's see how Cunard prices it on their ship. And the next specialty restaurant launching is Veranda. In fact, they mention whisking you off to the bazaars of Delhi, no less. They claim that menus are curated by experts in the field, providing a multi-sensory experience. It's interesting to see that Cunard is finally offering an Indian specialty restaurant, because many other cruise lines have been doing so for years. Yes, there has been a sort of pop-up version of Indian on Cunard where a little section of the buffet at night turns into a quasi-Indian restaurant, but it's only a couple of days a week and it's not a dedicated one. This is the first time, finally, that Cunard is putting an Indian restaurant aboard. About time, you might say. Now, here's a slightly confusing one, because they mention a new steakhouse, even though Veranda has been available on all Cunard ships for a while. This one they're calling Sir Samuel's, which is slightly confusing because on the Queen Mary 2, Sir Samuel's is a coffee and cake house. This one is promising steak and seafood in a salubrious setting. Let's see if it winds up being any different from the Veranda. And the final new specialty restaurant is Mediterranean themed and is called Tramonto, which they say takes guests to the sun-kissed shores of the Mediterranean. With a menu filled with fresh flavours, guests can enjoy dining al fresco, taking in a beautiful sunset on a warm summer evening. Oh, and I have a little bit of a scoop here. I was talking to the executive chef of the entire Cunard fleet recently, and he let slip that the Tramonto Italian restaurant is going to be free of charge, included in your cruise fare on Queen Anne. It's not an additional cost restaurant. So, good news. We did recently put out a video on the Queen Anne looking at exactly what you can expect. You can watch it after this. Now, you may have noticed that we haven't covered the grill restaurants in this video. My apologies for that. And the reason is that we haven't travelled grill on Cunard for a couple of years. We did travel grill 4 years ago, and that really was excellent. However, on this occasion, I did get permission to film inside, so here I can show you what the restaurants themselves look like, but I won't attempt to cover the food. We'll leave that for another edition when we next travel grill. Now, back to the central question we asked right at the beginning of the video. Just how good is food on Cunard ships? Because the ships themselves are really quite beautiful. They do exude this timeless elegance. If you want an experience that whisks you back to the grand days, Cunard does it almost better than anyone else. And that, in a roundabout way, is my final answer. If you look at all the scores that I gave for the various outlets throughout this video and tot them up, you'll see it comes to about 8 out of 10, which is no mean feat. That's certainly not bad, that's not shabby, that's a pretty respectable score. I can't say the food is a 9 or a 10, but if you take the overall experience of the magnificence of the ships, and then you add the food in together, you get a very good package. Because the real reason to choose Cunard is the experience, and the food will be just fine. Now, I did promise you throughout this episode various links to our other videos. Those are down in the description. And on our channel, we have several comprehensive videos covering Cunard and many other different cruise lines. They're all in our playlist. Please do take a look at those. In fact, completely non-Cunard, we are aboard the brand new Celebrity Ascent in a couple of weeks. And that's going to be an interesting one, as it's the most money celebrity have ever spent on a cruise ship, costing over $1 billion. Now, we will be live aboard the Celebrity Ascent in a couple of weeks' time, and our comprehensive video coverage will start shortly after that. So remember to be subscribed to our channel so you know when those videos drop. If you've got any comments or requests, or you think we just haven't got things right or should cover something else, please do leave your comments in the box below. In the meantime, please take a look at some videos here, and we'll see you in those. Thanks so much for joining us on the Ritzy Travel Guide. We'll see you the next time.